Hi guys, in this video we're going to make a doll cake of Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. Now I've got some fruit cakes that we're going to use for this one to make it a little bit more Christmassy. I've got two 4-inch cakes and then I've just cut a little 3-inch one using one of my round cookie cutters. I'm just going to put a wooden dowel through the centre just to hold them together while I carve them. Then I'll remove that again shortly. From the small one at the top we're going to cut down, trying to get a gentle slope like that. So I've cut quite a bit away there, we'll move that out of the way. And I'm just using apricot jam to stick it to the board. Just make sure that each of your cakes have got a little bit of apricot jam in between each one as well to hold them together. And then we're also going to cover this around the outside of the fruit cake because we're going to marzipan this one. So take your marzipan, give it a good roll out. When you're rolling it, just make sure this bit here is taller or wider than the height of your cake. Just make sure it's not too thick, and we're going to wrap this all the way around, giving it a good press on in place. And then I'll just take this skewer out the top, pinch it together, trim a line down the back, we'll fold that over, feel through to that line you've just cut, and we'll cut another one, trying to get it in almost the same place. If it's not too neat, don't panic too much because obviously this is underneath. We're going to smooth all this down. So once you've fully covered it, just give it a smooth over. I've got this Sugarworks smoother here that I'm using for it. And what I'm going to do is just roughly mark out where I want the different patches of her skirt to be. That might not stick exactly to this, but it just gives me a rough guideline. And I'm adding a sausage shape to the top of the dress. Just make it into a little loop. Fill the middle. I'll just give her a little bit more of a waist when we add the body. And we're just keeping the skirt itself as the fruitcake, and the body is just going to be made out of icing. So for this particular one, I'm using the Leped one. And I'll put links below to everything that I've used in the video. And you can use the normal modelling paste as well. So I quite often use the Renshaw's Flour and modelling paste, which will do the same. It just needs a little bit longer to set, whereas this one will firm up quite quick. So I've dyed a pale blue, and it's baby blue I'm using. So just give this a mix in. Doesn't want to be too dark in colour. This is going to make her body, head and arms. And I've got a plastic cake dowel that we're just going to push right down into the cake. Just leaving a hole in the middle there. And we're going to start by making a body. So make it a little bit slimmer at the bottom than at the top. And then we're going to thin this top bit to create a neck. I'm just going to insert this skewer, or the dowel I should say. Now the paste will be really quite thin around the dowel. But if it's any thicker, her neck is going to be a bit too chunky. And now I'm going to work in the waist. Should start to give us a bust. I'll just trim this down a little bit because I don't want her to be too tall. Just keep pressing until you're happy with the shape. And we're just going to insert this body now into the top till it reaches with that little piece of marzipan we've put on there. And now we need to put in her little sort of stitching seams. So we'll put one down the centre of her body, and then some across where the collarbones would be, and one halfway up the neck. Now for a head, we're going to start with a ball of the blue, and I'm just going to push lightly in 2 eye sockets with my fingers, and then we'll try and create a little bit more of a point where the chin area is, and just flatten that mouth area. You don't want it too rounded. And then I'm just using a modelling tool to try and push up a little nose in the middle, so only slightly, almost like a little triangular shaped piece that we want down there. And let's draw in another seam across her face, and then a long line for her smile. Again, we want to put little stitch lines through this, leaving the middle bit where the lips are going to be added to. And I realised I did turn the camera off when I did the lips, so I do apologise. So taking, I've got like a deepy reddy pink kind of colour. Just create a little oval and put a little line through the middle to create top and bottom lips. And we're just going to pinch it slightly either side, and just push in the middle to create a cupid's bow. And then you're going to push that in the middle of her mouth. So for the eyes, we want white this time. Just create 2 little balls, and we're just going to press them so they're a little bit flatter into those eye sockets. Let's roll some more blue, quite thin. Let's just put this around the top of the eye. You do the same on both eyes as well. And we're going to repeat the same for the bottom, but keep it a little bit smaller on the bottom, so a slightly smaller piece, and we'll just push that into there. And if you like it without these bits, you don't have to add them. Now the black for the eyes, I've just got a normal fondant for the black in the eye, so I've wet the white just with water just to stick these on in place. And now to give her a little bit of colour, I'm using some edible dusts, and I've got a blue one here. And we're just going to darken around the edge of the eyes and in each of the cracks that we've sort of created where her little stitching lines are. And you can do the same on the body as well as on the head. And if you want to go darker, you can always add a little bit of black as well. Now the fiddly bit, you want to take your modelling paste or fondant. Now you might find it easy with modelling paste with the black and roll it nice and thin. I've just got a little bit in the middle that I've gone a little bit thinner on. It's giving me a little kink. Just make sure that's pushed along the edge of the eye. Do the same for the other one. If it's too long, just trim any extra off. And this time we want to give her some eyelashes. So roll them thin, just cut off some tiny, tiny little pieces. And we'll do another one. So they're quite small, quite fiddly. Apologies, I've got that only just in shot. Keep going all the way along. Now her eyelashes tend to be sort of almost in V shapes. So there's two together creating like a V shape. And do this all the way across each eye. And let's just add a little black line across that bottom eyelid as well. I'm just going to deepen her eyes a little bit by adding a bit more black underneath. And the same with the other areas of her face. Anywhere that would be shadowed, you can just darken a little bit. And what we're going to do is push that head now onto the top of the plastic dowel we've got. So it's just on the top of her neck, like so. And we're going to start adding the patches to her skirt now. I'm just using water because it'll make my marzipan go sticky. And I've got some ready dyed black fondant here that we're going to use. So I've just got a Renshaw's one that was ready dyed for ease of use. It doesn't want to be too thick. Stick it on where the patch is, and then you're going to cut through to create whatever shape you want. Now I'm trying to follow the guidelines that I did roughly. I'm not too worried if I miss them slightly. So the next one is the yellow one. And I've got burgundy with a bit of pink together for this one. Again, just roll nice and thin. And we're going to create a little patch on her skirt. So we're going to do this all the way around with all the different colours, piecing them together until you've filled the skirt. And she's just got a little yellow square patch on one of the pink sections as well that I'm going to add on. And this one that I'm sticking on now is a navy colour mixed with a little bit of jade. And I'm almost all the way up the skirt, and I'm just adding a bit of my fondant just into the tiny gaps around the waist so that it gives us a smooth line underneath these patches that we're adding. And now these next few are going to fill the top of my skirt, and they're also going to come up onto the body. When they come onto the body, you want to cut them so that they're going from the top of her neck down towards the centre of her chest so that we create a V shape in her top, like that. And then we can start adding any patterning that we want on here. So she's got some polka dots on this bit. So I'm just rolling these by hand. You can use a cutter if you prefer. Now they're the only bits that are going to be stuck on in fondant. The rest of the patterning I'm going to paint on shortly. So we're going to work on the arms. So you want a bit of your blue that's left over from the body. Roll a long thin shape, and we're going to create a little dint in the middle where the elbow's going to go, and we're going to bend that. Now we're not giving her hands because she's going to have her arms tucked behind her back. I'm just going to push this on in place. If it's not sticking, you can use some edible glue. This one seems to have pushed on okay. Just giving it a little squeeze sort of behind her back as well where I want them to sit. And her hair's going to cover all the back so you won't see that bit there where we've pushed them in place. For the sleeves, she's going to have a yellow one and this sort of murky greeny colour one. And for each one, you're just going to create a rough oval shape. I've just rolled it by hand, so it's only a very rough shape. And I'm going to trim it down, and I'm going to cut a jaggedy edge in. And then that curved edge will fit up against her shoulder, and the jaggedy edge will be the bottom of a sleeve. Just do the same with both sleeves. And I just need to add her some more seams onto her arms. So we're going to push these in with the modelling tool. And again, just add a little bit of edible dust into those to deepen them. And now we're going to add some shading all over the outfit. So just use a dry brush, and then I've just got some rainbow dusts in black. They're just a dry powder. And we're going to dust this all over. Anywhere that you think would be sort of shadowed or you want a little bit darker. And now for some of the details, we're going to put the powder in with some alcohol. So I've just mixed mine with vodka. You can use rose water or even lemon extract as well for mixing it. And I've got quite a thick brush to start with because we're going to paint on some black stripes on the pink areas. And you can spend longer than I have done if you want working on the little painted area. Keep going all the way across. And then we want a smaller brush just to add some little dots into the yellow bit. And then let's put some sort of stitching lines just around the outside edge of that square. These stitching lines are going to go around the edge of everything as well. So add your dots anywhere that are needed. Now, at this point I'm going to stick her on my board. So I've iced just a cake drum in black fondant and I've got a bit of ribbon around the edge. I've just got a little bit of water which will make the fondant tacky and that will stick in place. And then we're just going to create some more lines and patterning now on the rest of her dress. So we're going to do some lines on the yellow bit. Now mine are quite scruffy rather than perfectly neat. If you want, you can have them neater. For this one I thought they looked nicer, a bit uneven. Again, the green bit we want some little lines, sort of diagonal lines going across there. And some stripes coming down the yellow sleeve. Again, don't forget your little stitching details across the edge. Sort of swirly pattern here on the pink bit. So sort of circles around each other. And keep an eye on a picture of her so you can see roughly what her dress is meant to look like. Now for the hair, we're going to dye some of the Leped paste in the paprika. Again, you can use just normal modelling paste or even fondant if you want. If you're using fondant, just make sure that you're adding a little bit of Tylose to it just to firm it up a little bit. So I've just rolled out a block of the orange. And I've cut out a very rough rectangle. I'm going to push this on over her head. So it's down lengthways down her body. I'm going to give it a good push onto the head. And we're going to trim it across where that seam is, where I've sort of pinched it together. And I'll just run my modelling tool through the centre so it looks like a parting rather than a seam. And on this one, I haven't added individual hairlines. I quite liked it in one block. But if you want, you can spend some time running individual hairlines through her. So there she is, all finished. If you've enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy the Corpse's Bride doll cake video that I have. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.